Hi, my name is Jonathan Hicks. I'm at Essen 2018 and I've just had a demo playthrough of Aristeia, which is effectively a two-player sort of light skirmish game. So you have a team of people, you have a set of cards here. So I had 4 characters who I'm running around on the map and fighting with essentially against my opponent who has a different set of 4 characters. You can see there's a nice set of miniatures for this game. There's a few spaces on the map you're trying to move around, so some spaces are blocked. Some you can shoot over but you can't move through, but ultimately you're trying to get into these objective zones. Now each round of the game, one player gets to decide which is the point scoring objective game area. So in this case it was this one here, and essentially we're all trying to rush into the appropriate area, but you're obviously kind of fighting each other, you're trying to grab onto each other and stop each other from moving. At the end of the round you get a victory point for every person on your team who's in the area. You play the game over a few rounds and most points wins. In terms of how you attack though, you've got lots of interesting dice here. So if, in fact in terms of action selection, I'd perhaps say, these all start off face down. So you kind of secretly decide the order that you want your characters to act in, and then me and the opponent kind of both flip over simultaneously, and the higher number gets to decide which person goes first. And if I got to go first, then I would take a turn with Wild Bill. And typically you're spending energy on different actions. So 2 energy would get you to move, he's got 5 energy to spend, and if I spend on a move action I could move 4 spaces, and then he could attack. These are the attacks on the cards here. They often have special abilities that you can potentially trigger, but the most important thing is that's how much energy you've got to spend to do the attack, and those are the dice you're rolling when you actually do the attack. So he might decide for whatever reason to move into the zone here, and then he could shoot at the opponent here, and I'm going to get to roll a red and 2 orange dice. So you grab your dice, and what we're looking for is stars. Stars are successes. So you roll your dice, and oh, that's great, I've got 3 stars. And the opponent, you sort of find the appropriate person, you check on their sheet, and the defense stat you're looking at is this one here. So green and blue is pretty typical. So let's say they roll a green and blue, and they're looking for the block symbols. So, oh, that's a complete miss. So my 3 hits go through, and we do 3 wounds. You kind of track the wounds, you can see there's wound markers on here, and the health is at the top right. Once the health's down to 0, they're not dead, they're just eliminated for a round, and they do come back at the end of that round, so it's quite nice. It's not too punishing in that sense, but they're just sort of removed from the board. But then potentially you can see you've got these exclamation marks. They can be used to trigger special abilities. So if I manage to get 3 exclamation marks, effectively his special ability is I get to do the attack again on somebody else. So that's quite nice, it's a very powerful attack. You've also got tactics cards which you can play, which will do various things. So for example, you can add dice to a roll, you could draw some more tactics cards, re-roll one of your dice. But it's fairly straightforward. A lot of the interplay comes in triggering these extra actions. There's often these specials as well here. You can see if I get 2 blocks when rolling, I get to draw a tactics card. So you're sort of rolling, and when somebody rolls a defense, it's possible they might be able to kind of hit you back as well, in which case you're going to want shields on your attack dice, if you like. Generally the different dice do different things, so blue and green are for defense mostly, the red ones are good for attack, so are the orange ones, but not as good as the red. The yellows you can see are not very good for attacking, but they're very good for getting the exclamation marks for the special abilities. There's lots of exclamation marks all over those. So it's interesting, I found, the different interplay between the dice when you're doing the fighting. So yeah, you run around, try and get into the zone as much as you can to score the points. Overall, I really enjoyed it actually. It's light. I played it with my son and we both had a really good time. It's fairly straightforward, didn't take as long to learn, but you do still have some interesting decisions in terms of rolling the dice, deciding when to add the extra dice. It's a little bit swingy because it's a light dice rolling skirmish game. For what it is, I think it works very well. Alright, thanks for watching. That was Aristeia.